Welcome to Math 75. Math 75 is Red Deer Polytechnic's introductory algebra course, which is equivalent to Math 10C. This course is going to be delivered completely online. So that means you're going to be watching video lectures, reviewing course material, or doing homework, and writing quizzes or exams through this Blackboard site at your own pace. Although you'll be able to work through these contents at your own pace, we want to make sure that you stick to a tentative schedule in order to be finished within the traditional 15-week term. On this site, you're going to find a whole collection of resources that are going to be necessary for you to succeed. What I'd like to do is start along the left-hand side of our course menu and work through some of these options, giving you an overall understanding of what you can find here in Blackboard. On the top left side of your menu options, you're going to see something called a live classroom. If you were to click on that live classroom option, it will take you to what we call a Blackboard Collaborate Ultra session. Clicking on the course room and then joining the course room will take you to a space where you and I can connect in real time and go through not only questions and answers, but present things or share our screens to work through some whiteboard or calculator material. So the live classroom is a place where you and I can connect in real time online. As your instructor, I'll be happy to help you through this course and connect in this space if and when you need some extra support. Aside from our live classroom, the next folder you're going to find that's extremely important is the folder containing your course materials, all of the PowerPoint notes, and formula sheets. So if you were to enter that section of our Blackboard course, what you're going to notice is that the entire textbook has been uploaded in PDF format online. So if you click on course materials, Math 75 begins with module 1 and continues through to module 5. So if you were to open module 1, what you're going to see is the collection of course materials or course package. These course materials contain a whole bunch of wonderful resources. You will see homework questions in here, you will see definitions, and you will essentially see a mirror to the lecture notes or PowerPoint slides that you have as you work through each of the video lectures. So the course materials are going to house your regular homework section. Aside from that, there are PowerPoint notes as well in this folder. So if you were to click on your PowerPoint notes, again, they're divvied up by modules. So clicking on the PowerPoint Module 1 folder will give you all of the notes that I'll be reviewing through the video lectures. It is completely your choice what you do with those PowerPoint notes. If you want to print them or use them as I go through the lecture, they're there for you to print and utilize as you see fit. If you want to use them as references, you're welcome to do that as well. Again, please explore the site and see what kinds of resources have been made available for you. Aside from the PowerPoint notes, there are also folders that contain the formula sheets necessary for this course. So there are going to be formula sheets for modules 3, 4, and 5 specifically, but I also have multiplication tables or lists of perfect squares and cubes that might be handy in different places throughout this course. Now, once you familiarize yourself with the course materials or print the course materials and PowerPoint notes as you see fit, again, you're welcome to do so, what you are going to need to do is download some required technology on the devices that you'll be using at home. If you click on the required technology option, you must complete all of these tasks before you are able to access content for the course. So there are some requirements that are described in detail on this page. So you will be using something called Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor. So that means you will be locked out of other applications on your device or computer, and you will also be monitored via camera when you write your quizzes or tests for this course. There are certain system requirements that are reviewed in this section, and they go into explicit detail about how you can download Respondus, which is necessary for you to do your quizzes and exams. Once you have read through this section or you have loaded Respondus on your home computer, again, the instructions are explicit on your Blackboard site, what you need to do is very clearly mark that you have reviewed that material. So if you take a look at the bottom left side of the screen, there is a little Mark Reviewed radio button. You need to press that button in order to access any subsequent material. So once you have marked this as reviewed, what you will see is that a practice test now appears. This practice test is going to help you utilize Respondus Lockdown Browser in a situation where the test is not necessarily going to count for marks. So this practice test is really to get you acquainted with some of the technology that is necessary and help you iron out any of the issues that you might have using this technology for the first few times. Once you had completed the first practice test for technology, Module 1 will unlock. So in order to access content for Module 1, which is the real beginning of this course, you must complete the practice test for using Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor settings. So again, please make sure that you have that technology up and running as quickly as you can. And if you're having any issues with the technology, there are all kinds of places in this site that you can access help. There are wonderful step-by-step videos that can be of assistance, or please reach out to me at any time if you're having issues getting the required technology downloaded on your device. Once you complete the practice test, Module 1 contents will start to appear. You will be given a chart describing what you're going to encounter in each of the sections in Module 1. So, for example, you can see this module contains 8 different sections. It gives you the title of those sections and the regular homework questions that will be assigned for you to practice with some of that content. As you can see here, the time allotted for Module 1 is approximately 2 weeks. Now, in those 2 weeks, you're going to do several quizzes, and the quizzes will be strategic. So you will complete quiz 1 after you've completed section 1.4. You'll complete quiz 2 when you've completed section 1.6, and you'll do the third quiz after you completed section 1.8. Now, after looking at this chart, again, that little Mark Reviewed button is going to appear at the bottom of your screen. Once you mark it as reviewed so that you've taken a look at some of those contents, what you'll see is that the video lecture for section 1.1 will appear. So clicking on that link for 1.1 or the video lecture for 1.1 will take you to a YouTube site where the lecture has been pre-recorded. Your instructions will be to watch the video, review the course materials in your course pack or textbook, and then practice the questions that are associated with that section. After you've done so, you can mark that section as reviewed. Once again, once you hit Mark Reviewed, another section or the subsequent section will appear. So section 1.2 appears and you do exactly the same thing. You watch the video lecture, you review the course materials, you practice with your homework questions, and then again you mark it reviewed when you've completed all of those tasks. So what you will find after section 1.3 is finished and after section 1.4 has been completed, what you will see pop up is in fact a quiz. So when you have finished section 1.4, for example, and you mark it as reviewed, quiz number 1 appears. You will not be allowed to continue to the next video lecture until the quiz has been completed. So you can see that this first quiz is allotted a 60-minute time frame, and there is no calculator use permitted for that first quiz. Again, it goes into detail in terms of describing the kinds of things you are allowed or not allowed to do during quiz time, and you will be writing your quizzes in Respondus. So again, you'll be writing them on camera in a monitored or proctored setting. Once you finish quiz number 1, the next video lecture section will be made available. So what I want you to take away from this part of our welcome video is that everything is very strictly organized and has what we call adaptive release. So you cannot move on to subsequent sections until previous sections have been completed. After you write quiz number 3 from section 1.7 and 1.8, the module test for module 1 will appear. And again, you must complete the module test before you can proceed to module 2. So with this adaptive release, please make sure that you are marking things reviewed as you go so that you know exactly where you are in this course at all times. Now, during quizzes and tests, you're going to have some written work. Now, that written work needs to be submitted in what we call the written work submissions folder. So if you take a peek at the left side of our screen, there is a folder that says written work submissions. So if you were to click on that, what you will see is that I have a folder assigned for every quiz or test that you will do throughout this course. So in your practice test, for example, we're going to have you practice using Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor, but you have to have technology to scan and submit your written work through this folder as well. So when you have finished the practice test, during that practice test, there will be some instructions for you to write your name or provide some written work for me to get you to practice uploading or downloading some of your pictures and scanning and submitting your work. So if you click on this assignment, what you will see is it gives you no possible points because I'm going to be marking your quizzes and tests separately, but you can do one of two things. You can either text submit something, which means you're going to write out all your work, which is not recommended, or you're going to attach a file. When you attach a file, you might have a few options. So now if I were to click Browse Local Files, I can either choose files that are already saved on my device, or I can select things from a photo library. I can also use the current device that I'm on to take a photo or video of my work to upload and submit. So for every quiz or exam where you have written work that you want to submit and have marked, along with your assessment, you must upload those documents through the written work submissions folder. Again, if you go back to that written work submissions folder, what you will see is that every quiz and every test has essentially been labeled clearly for you to upload and submit your work. Aside from the written work submissions folder, again on the left-hand side, you'll see final exam preparation materials. You'll see the location for your final exam when your final exam is ready to be written. And you'll see a few other options. So the course messages option, just as an example, is a place where you can email me through Blackboard. Now, please be careful. This does not go to your Red Deer Polytechnic email address. It doesn't go to my Red Deer Polytechnic email address either. It will be messaged through Blackboard. You can also take a look at some of the tools we have available on the left-hand side. You can post some discussions in a discussion board, and you can take a peek in your grades here as well. So again, what I want you to do is take some time to familiarize with yourself with this site before you dig into the actual contents themselves. On the welcome page, if we go back to the beginning, what you will also find of use, or really useful, I guess, is the course outline. So we have a copy of the course outline and we have a copy of what we call a tentative daily schedule. If you click on the course outline, what you're going to see are some of the requirements for this course, a good descriptor of the topics and outcomes you are going to cover in this class, and it also gives you a little bit of information about assessment and grading. So the first module test we're going to suggest is written sometime between the week of, let's say, September 26th and September 30th for this fall term. Aside from that, it gives you weighting for each of your exams. So the first module is worth 12%, the second module test is also worth 12%, and so on. Quizzes will be a total of 10% all combined, and the final exam is worth 30% of your final grade. So aside from that, there are some assignment norms that we want you to review, so make sure that any submissions you make are clearly labeled with your date and question numbers or work clearly described there. And aside from that, we have a grading scheme. So letter grades are going to be given instead of percentages. So you can see the ranges of percentage grades and their conversions to letter grades here in your course outline as well. Now, aside from that, we really want to make sure that all of the work you are doing is your own. So there are clauses about academic misconduct, and using Respondus Monitor is one of the ways for us to ensure that you are doing your work on your own. So there are some important dates for you to keep in mind on our academic calendar, but at the very end of our course outline, what you're going to see is essentially a tentative daily schedule. So if you were in the face-to-face course for Math 75, this is the schedule we would be following in class. So those students will be writing their test on or around the 27th of September. So if you're working through this course at your own pace, that should be a target date for you. You want to make sure that you have finished with Module 1 somewhere around the 27th of September. Now, as an independently paced worker, you can work through these module sections a little bit faster or a little bit slower than you see the regular course working through these sections of the modules, but the end goal is the same. So you want to make sure that you're not getting too far behind as the term progresses. I have posted the tentative daily schedule as a separate document as well. So if you wanted to print that daily schedule and have it handy as you're working through the course, you're welcome to do so. The last subsection on that welcome page is a set of required course materials. You do need the Math 75 course package, and again, we've uploaded all of those documents as PDFs in your course materials folder. You do need a scientific calculator, although if you're moving on to Math 85 or subsequent math courses, you might want to get your hands on a TI-84 graphing calculator now just to get familiar with it. And aside from that, we have the formula sheets package here as well, so you can print and use those at your discretion. Essentially, what I want to do with this video is just welcome you to the course and try and get you familiarized with some of the resources that you see here. I encourage you to reach out to me early on in our term so that we can connect in the live classroom and I can answer any questions that you might have about content right from the beginning. If you're running into any issues or difficulty, I will be here to help support you and to help you learn the material as you go. We also have wonderful resources available on campus through our tutoring center, and there is a math learning center as well as part of the library. So if you have any questions about supports that are made available, please reach out and let me know. I hope that we can connect soon as you get started on your Math 75 course this term. I wish you the best of luck.